respected elder Buddhist brothers and rest Buddhist brothers, sisters. As a Buddhist monk, indeed, a very moving, very happy moment. As usual, the person who speaks last, there's nothing to say. All the good points already mentioned. I think usually, this is my sort of concern or feeling. Of course, I'm Buddhist, but at a further deeper level, I'm a human being. One of the nearly, now about 7 billion human beings, I'm one of them. The humanity as a social animal. So each individual's future entirely depends on the rest of the humanity. So for my own sort of interest, I have to think seriously about humanity. So number one, on human level, according to my own experience, I know there's about 7 billion human beings. Each one want happy life, do not want suffering. And each one have every right to achieve that. No differences, religious faith or non-believer, or what religious faith, or what social background, or rich or poor, educated, uneducated, from king, royal family, beggar, same human being. On that level, we are same. We all have the same right. I think many problems which we humanity facing, with too much emphasis, the secondary level differences. If we think on fundamental level, we are same human brothers, sisters. No basis to quarrel. No basis to cheat at each other. Look down each other. No. We are same. So we really need to clearly sort of realize we are same. Future, happier humanity is everybody's interest, everybody's responsibility. Now we Buddhist, I think maybe nearly 1,000 million Buddhists. We also have sort of responsibility to serve humanity. I think very motivation of Buddha Shakyamuni for enlightenment, meant for sentient being. Whole his sort of life, whole his teaching, meant for sentient being, not only Buddhist. So, on that level, I usually strongly feel, look back 20th century, I think the 20th century become very, very important century, whole human history. We invented many, many positive things. And at the same time, the 20th century becomes century of bloodshed, century of violence. even in the name of different religious faith, violence, divisions. So the 20th century really becomes a century of bloodshed, century of violence. According to some historian, over 200 millions of human beings killed. So such immense suffering really brought some good thing on this planet. Brought more peaceful, more happy world, then such amount of suffering can be justified. But that's not the case. Even beginning of this 21st century, some unhealthy things, unhappy things here and there, these are, I think, a result or a symptom of the past mistake, past negligence. So now, and then also it's a technology, immense also the advancement. But that technology also sometimes, you see, adding power of destruction. So the science and technology itself is wonderful. But in order to use for constructive way, ultimately it depends on our human mind. The user of the technology, user of the science, knowledge of science. So in order to create a better world, if we expect better world come from money, come from science, come from technology, it's wrong. If you really want better world, happier world, ultimately it depends here. And our intelligence also, education also, not very sure. These troublemakers, I think these people also, I think as far as their brain is concerned, very smart. So it's their motivation here. Anger, fear, hatred, suspicion, that's the causing of these problems. So now, firstly, in order to create this 21st century, become a peaceful century, we have to think about inner peace. Peace never achieved through declaration, through resolution, through slogan. Peace must come through inner peace. That's the only way. So, in order to create happier world, ultimately, you have to look individuals sort of motivation. Through like a world body, United Nations cannot build peace. Peace must come from individuals' inner peace. Individual, combined individual, that is society, that's community. And the leaders also come from that society. If the society not much concerned about moral principle, moral ethics, society only concerned money, power, then people from that kind of society automatically become just thinking importance of money and power. We can't blame these people. Our whole society thinking. I think many people, I think almost I feel almost like lip service saying God or Buddha. But in our daily life, we don't care. We Buddhist. We pray Buddha, Buddha Mishanam Gacchami. But our real day-to-day life don't care about Buddha. Money, power, name. What's that? I think we religious people also sometimes learning hypocrisy. Pray, all sentient being, but real action, no botheration about others' right. Exploit. I think many other religions follow also. Pray to God. I believe God our creator, but recreation. Don't listen. The creator's sort of voice, creator's sort of guidance. I often was telling my Indian friend, Indian people, basically comparatively more religious people. Pray to Shivaji, Ganesh. I think Ganesh mainly for wealth. So, really, you should worship, pray. I think every home, some God statues there. But they are real life. A lot of corruptions. How? No God, no Buddha say corruption is okay. We should be honest. Justice. Just. No great teachers say, oh, you should exploit as much as you can. I will bless you. Nobody, no God say that. So therefore, if we accept higher being like Buddha or Jesus Christ or Muhammad or others, then we should be honest person, truthful. Through that way, you yourself also gain more self-confidence. I have nothing to hide. I can tell what I feel transparently. Then you get trust from others. So from your own selfish viewpoint, honest, truthful is the very important source of inner strength, self-confidence. Yes, there are people. Speak very nicely, smile, and then look, their motivation is something different. How can you develop trust or respect? Here I am Buddhist. I want to say, our Buddhist brothers, sisters, Buddha's teaching. Of course, more than 2,500 years passed, but still, Buddha's teaching is very much relevant to today's world, including number of top scientists. They're really eager to get more information, more method, tackle destructive emotion. The teaching wonderful, but I really feel now there are signs, there are lamas or turgus or teachers, their quality become degenerate. This I really feel some concern. If yourself not disciplined life, how to teach other people? In order to show other right path, you yourself must follow the right path. So therefore, now I think all the positive things already stated. So now only thing left for me is say more negative things. So we must be very, very serious. I myself a Buddhist monk. I always watch myself. And every day, morning, as soon as I wake up, I remember Buddha and recite some Buddha's teaching. Then sort of shaping of my mind. The rest of my day, I should spend according to that principle. Honest, truthful, compassionate, peaceful, non-violence. So I hope our Buddhist brothers and sisters here, I think when we talk about Buddha Dharma, and promote Buddha Dharma, propagate Buddha Dharma, first you yourself propagate here. Right. Oh. So that's something very, very important, one thing. So, Buddha Dharma. Of course, all other major world religious tradition, as I mentioned in my paper, all major sort of world religious tradition, all have same potential to build inner peace, and through that way, to create a better world. But then, one unique thing about Buddhism, Jainism, and part of Sangha tradition is the emphasis, importance of individuals. Right? The ultimate sort of theory or view is self-creation. And we believe law of causality. If you carry right action, positive result comes. If you carry wrong action, negative things happen. So because of law of causality, if you do wrong action, Buddha cannot save. Buddha taught, I show to you the path, go to nirvana. But whether you can achieve that or not, entirely up to you. I cannot lead you as a sort of person, through blessing. Buddha never said that. So you are your own master. So that way of teaching, I think very, very helpful. Everything depends on one's own action. Action, positive action, negative action, entirely depend on motivation. So Buddha Dharma can make, I think, significant sort of contribution in order for inner peace, like that. Now here, as I mentioned yesterday when we met, the leaders, Burma and then Laos and some other. In the past, with the name of so-called Hinayana, Mahayana, Tantrayana. So people get the impression these three yanas are something really different and separate. That's totally mistake. As I mentioned briefly this morning, the Theravada tradition or Pali tradition is the foundation of Buddha Dharma and practice of Vinaya. It's the foundation of Buddha Dharma. Buddha himself, his own history, his own story, he sort of cut his own hair and then become monk. That's the practice of Shila. Then 6 years meditation. That's the practice of Samadhi. And also practice of Vipassana. Through that way, finally, he got enlightenment. So 3 trainings, Shila, Samadhi, Prajna, or Vipassana. So we, his follower, must follow that way. Without a practice of self-discipline, without practice of Vinaya, how can develop Shamatha and Vipassana? Difficult. So So the Pali tradition is the foundation of Buddha Dharma. On top of that, the practice of, I think, the Panchaparamita Sutra, that is Sanskrit sort of Sanskrit tradition, emphasis about Nirodha, third noble truth, Nirodha. So further explanation, what is Nirodha? He explained possibility to eliminate our ignorance. Once complete eliminate ignorance from our mind, that's Nirodha, moksha. So it's a further explanation that. And then also marg, further explanation. So on the basis of Pali tradition, then the Sanskrit tradition add. That's something like first floor way. First ground floor, that's a Pali tradition. Bhikshu practice, self-discipline, shila. Then Panchaparamita Sutra, also you see the Abhidhamma, a kind of Abhidhamma. So about wisdom, mentioning about wisdom. So, and 6 parameters, 10 parameters. Then on top of that, the Buddhist Tantrayana, visualization, deities, based on practice of vipassana, samatha, and bodhicitta. So these first floor, ground floor where? Ground floor, the first floor, second floor, like that. Without ground, ground where? You cannot build. So I think the Buddhist brothers and sisters here, I think you should know that. Of course, I have no authority. I myself consider a student. Whenever I have time, I always study, read, like that. But you see, I think as far as Tibetan Buddhism is concerned, about 300 volumes which translated from India, Pali, as well as Sanskrit, and some Nepalese. So whenever I have time, I read, think, study these 300 volumes. So certainly my knowledge, compared to those people who never touched these 300 volumes, I think then my knowledge is a little better. So therefore, you see, as a result of studying these books, I developed a full conviction. These practice of these 3 trainings are very, very essential, like that. So firstly, we Buddhists, whether Theravada or Mahayana or Tantrayana, we must be a genuine follower of Buddha. That's very important. Clear? In order to become Buddha's follower, just change dress. Even kasa, puppet, we can put some monk's robe. We cannot call them a Buddhist monk sort of. So I think puppets are there. Allah bego kasa. Allah bego kasa. Puppets or dolls. Or put some bhikshu's robe. If you can say, I mean, we cannot say these are good monk or good bhikshu, isn't it? So just a dress. It's very easy. Change here in order to become genuine Buddhist follower, in order to become Buddhist monk. You must practice seriously self-discipline, like that. Or sometimes it looks, Buddha, let him work hard with luxurious life. How? How can? If you are Buddhist, We must follow Buddha's own way. 6 years sort of the hardship practice. We must follow his example. So now, as I mentioned yesterday, in the past, frankly speaking, there is some kind of gap or wall between Pali tradition and Sanskrit tradition. This wall, nobody's benefit. We must come together and exchange. There are a lot of things to learn from your tradition, from your Patimoksha. You also can learn some of our Sanskrit Patimoksha. So, more sort of regular sort of meeting, not just a ceremonial way, but serious meeting, serious discussion is very, very essential. This is one thing. Then I think Bhikshuni. I think whole your sort of later part of your life, I think including your dream, I think you always think Bhikshuni, Bhikshuni, Bhikshuni. So I think, as you know, right from the beginning, I always sort of wish or support the Kasoda, survival, revival of Bhikshuni in Mula Savasitivajan tradition. But that, you see, we have to follow about the Vinaya sort of also the text. If I have some kind of a special right, acting like a dictator, then I can say, oh, you must do that. That we cannot. We must follow according to the Vinaya text. So, Mula Savasitivadan text, and also Dhammagupta text, Theravada text. These also is one important subject we have to discuss very seriously. So these decisions beyond my control. What I can decide is introduce all the nunnery Tibetan community. I introduce the study, so the same level, that is these big monasteries, the monastic institution carry study. So now we already see ready some nuns becoming Kishima, good scholar. Now the Bhikshuni, see, from time to time we are discussing. This moment also I show your letter to the Laotian leader and the Laotian Buddhist leader and also the Burmese, the Buddhist leader. I show the letter and we will carry a serious discussion. I think I am quite sure, eventually, I think some, because of the agreement, some agreement, I think we will arrive like that. So I think that is all. Thank you.